It's a little noisy here, but I think you get the idea. Fairly calm, even though I'm in the middle of like 3 different apartment complexes. Good getting internet. Yeah, I am actually here, believe it or not. I wasn't sure which video I would end up making today. I mentioned that at the end of the last video that it could be one of a few. This is actually not the video I was expecting to make at all, but I kind of ran out of time. Hopefully the audio is okay. It's really windy outside today. It's the reason why I'm wearing a jacket, even though it's warm enough for me to wear short-sleeve t-shirt and shorts. And also, I wanted to have a change of scenery. I'm actually recording during the day for once instead of very late at night or technically extremely early in the morning. Also, I'm just going to pivot over here so you can see it. This area is like a community space. I really wish I had figured out how to use it. I don't even know if it's applicable to where I live or if it's just this specific complex, but it would make a really nice spot for like a role-playing or board gaming day type of thing. Well, I'm moving anyway, so it's kind of irrelevant. Anyway, let's go on a bit of a walk. And in case people are wondering, I'm less concerned about my exact location and leaking that on the internet because I'm about to move. I know that people can figure out where I live based off of various bits of information I've said, like the fact that I live in Aarhus, or just things in the background. But since I'm about to move, I was a little more guarded when I was living in Bolvik, because I didn't know how long I would be living there, and I have to be responsible for more than just myself after all. And that's kind of what this video is about. So, I've mentioned before that I am undergoing therapy. Specifically, I am undergoing cognitive behavioral therapy with a psychologist rather than a psychiatrist. That's a little strange to me, but okay. And unlike every other time that I've been involved with mental health therapy, where I would be told, ideally I would be in therapy every week, spending an hour every week, rather than the reality, which was usually once a month, sometimes once every 2. I'm actually in therapy every week at the moment, which is taking up a large chunk of my day. I am using massive amounts of sick leave for a therapy appointment, especially since the location of the therapist is in the exact other corner of the city from me. But it's been helping quite a bit, and the last appointment that I had, which would have been Monday, was very specifically world-shattering for me, and I wanted to talk about that. Well, really, I don't want to talk about it. I think I need to talk about it. You know, kind of important. One moment. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure that others don't end up getting recorded by accident. We've been discussing various scenarios. Like, why do I react the way that I do in certain situations? Why do I have so much anxiety around other people? Why do I put myself through a lot of the things that I do? And the most recent appointment had, as I mentioned, kind of shattered my view a bit about myself. A lot of people would mention that I tend to be the type of person that at least attempts to react calmly, understanding. I'm not quick to anger or hatred, except in very specific situations. And I usually don't blame people for things that happen. And my therapist had pointed this out, and it's like, these are all good things, but why do you not apply that to yourself? You see, this particular situation was me talking about... Well, let me back up. The previous week's situation was me at a bus station. I was at a bus stop on my way to therapy, actually. This was most immediately before. The weather was awful. Heavy rains, lots of delays everywhere in Aarhus for transit. And I've kind of run out of this path to walk around. I'm just on the other side. I don't know. Yeah, you can sort of see the water down there. I'm just on the other side. Anyway, I'll probably cross the road and go walking in a different nature-ish path, although the other ones are busier. I'll just look back around again. So, I had noticed that there was a group of people talking in Danish about trying to figure out if they were going to be able to make their connections when the current bus was arriving, that type of thing. And while I'm not the best in Danish, I understood enough from context clues and my understanding of the language to know that what they were talking about. And I had decided not to speak up, even though I knew the answers. I had looked up all the information about the current bus, and I am the type of person that tends to keep track of a lot of buses. So I would have been able to help, but I still didn't talk about it. Bright sunlight, can't point camera at it. I guess I'll walk like this for a bit. And we had talked about various things about, now it's going back to shade. We had talked about various things like, why did I not speak up? And the ultimate reason is that I don't like to intrude. And in my mind, a conversation that was happening in Danish, and I would have to respond in English because my Danish is certainly not strong enough to be able to contribute, I'll get back to that word in a moment, would be a burden on the conversation, on the people present, and it was a burden that would not outweigh the information that I had, the contribution that I'd be able to bring to the conversation. So I decided not to, and thought that was a little strange, and I should bring it up with my therapist. Well, we had talked about some aspects of it the previous week, but this week we focused more on the burden and contribution parts, because those jumped out at my therapist. And rightfully so. See? Because most people don't view themselves that way. And I have a tendency to view myself as a burden to everyone around me. Pretty much always have. So we had discussed this isn't coming from, like, anything that happened in childhood. Even when I had started voicing those concerns as a kid, both of my parents would immediately go, no, you're not a burden, or things like that. Outside of literal financial burdens from time to time, because I exist on my mouth to feed. Of course I'm a financial burden as a kid. But we got talking further about what if the situations were reversed. And for instance, we had someone coming up to a group of people that I was a part of and started speaking a language that I still understood, but it wasn't the language of the conversation. And I would never view somebody as a burden, because I would never view someone as a burden. I would never view a person as a burden, other than myself. And I think the psychiatrist, or psychologist, darn, I keep mixing that up, was expecting me to have an epiphany at that point, and I didn't. Because I've always viewed it that way. I am the exception to my own rules. My own form of balance. I have to contribute to things, whereas I view everyone else in more of a, we've got enough to share, let's start sharing. I don't care if somebody is taking more than an equal amount, they might need more than an equal amount. I don't care if somebody is, I mean, I do care, but if someone's upset, I don't immediately assume that they're burden on me, and I view it more as a, hey, could I help? Something seems to be wrong. And I've always done that. Done that since I was an infant, in fact. Since I could talk. And before, for that matter. But we started going further into that. And that's more where I had the epiphany stuff. Because she started pressing on the fact that, why am I an exception? Why do I not treat myself like I treat others? And for a while I didn't have an answer. I don't really have an ultimate answer, but I do have an intermediary one. Which is the fact that I don't consider myself a person. And that was the thing that put me to tears. That realization that, of course I don't follow the same rules for myself that I follow for everybody else, because everybody else is a person and I'm not. And it's really complex trying to think of things in terms of, why do I not think of myself as a person? And it's like my brain is intentionally going, no, you're not thinking about that, over and over and over again. Apologies if the camera's wiggling a bit. Like I said, the thing I've said in a previous video, the thing I'm using as a selfie stick, because I can't find my actual selfie stick at the moment, is a bit wiggly. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. So, why do I not view myself as a person? And I don't have an answer to that. And at the time, I had come up with a couple of things, like, well, I don't know what other people are going through. Like, I can't be in their minds. I don't know. Maybe they're having a really bad day. Maybe they had bad sleep. Maybe they had X, Y, or Z other reasons why they might be behaving unkindly. But I have to behave kindly because I know what I'm going through. I have to be a person. Or I can't be a person because people are unknowable and I am knowable because I know myself. I have no idea what to do with this information, by the way. None at all. This is outright baffling to me. Let's see if I can go walk up, maybe sit down. Or maybe this is close to the end of the video. I don't know. Maybe I'll hack on a video of some kitties, because I like hacking on videos of kitties. Kitties are cute. Kitties aren't a burden because they're just a cat. A cat's not a person. I may personify cats quite a bit, but they're not a person. Do I view myself like a cat? No. But I also don't view myself as a person. So, what do I view myself as? And I don't have an answer to that. Kind of wish I did. Might help me figure out what to do. But one of the things my therapist had said was that I need to start treating myself with a bit more grace. It's not... I need to stop being a perfectionist for myself. So, for an example, at work. I view myself as a burden at work. I have for basically the entire time that I've been working at my current company, because I'm working as a software developer, and that's not something that I had ever worked as prior. So, obviously I needed to learn some things. I went to school for software development, so it's not a complete new thing. I do know how to program. I didn't at the time know how to program professionally, but I did know how to program. I'm just walking back and forth because I know this area is a little more calmer than others. But I knew that I had to take resources that the company was providing, more resources than I was probably giving back, at least at initial training, and constant thoughts about that otherwise. I generally have very low self-esteem. But, as I myself had pointed out when the therapist started pushing on that, I can't be that much of a burden. They literally moved me from Norway to Denmark. Like, they could have just let me go. In fact, they had started letting me go at the time. Because, like, the way I found out that they were forcing me to leave Norway was receiving notice that I was about to be terminated. My job terminated. I was not going to have a terminator come out and Arnold going. Yeah, anyway. So, obviously someone there thought that I was a benefit to the company. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. It's a capitalist hellscape. They could have hired another person. I knew that I was taking an outsized amount of money for my position. I still take an outsized amount of money for my position. I somewhat recently found out that salary-wise, I'm classified as something between regular and senior level of software engineer, even though I'm a regular level software engineer. And the reason for that is that I'm really highly paid for Denmark, for a software developer. I was very highly paid in Norway as well, because of the agreement that I had with my company. And in order to make up for that, they kind of just bumped my position internally a bit. It's not that much of an exaggeration. Technically, I have been up for promotion to senior level software engineer for a bit anyway, but I'm not. I don't meet those requirements today. So obviously, other people do not view me the same way I view me. And my answer was the immediate, well, of course, other people view me as a person. So why don't I? And I don't have an answer for this. Like I said, this is really brain-bending to think about. And I have another therapy appointment on Monday. Today is Saturday. I know the uploads are very slightly out of skew. Technically, the uploads are actually not out of skew at the moment. I actually have, as of right now, I have both the video releasing today and the video releasing tomorrow already uploaded, edited. The only thing that's missing is the thumbnail. So, and I'm going to do that when I get home. Probably just going to go do a little bit of grocery shopping first. That's why I have the backpack with me. Anywho, I know that I don't have too many people watching these, especially not like, 17 and a half minutes of this segment of the video in, but call it 18 minutes in. Very few people have watched at this point. Like, probably 2. Maybe 3. But how do you resolve what you are? Like, do you view yourself as a person? Do you view yourself as in the same group as everyone else around you? Because I don't. And never have. I'm trying to force myself to view myself as another person, give myself a little bit more grace, be less harsh on myself. And it's kind of like I don't know how. I might not be doing the greatest of jobs at it, but at least I'm going to try. Anyway, if there's no other videos, I hope you've had a good kitten internet, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. And if there is more video remaining, well, it's probably cat related. See ya! They're getting duck this time. Uh-huh. Don't worry. I'm just getting some quality video footage before I feed you. So I actually have the phone opened up while I do this to try to give you a first-person's perspective and giving them true, stuff. This is duck flavored, as I previously mentioned. Just look at them. Clearly cannot stand being around each other. So you're kind of hogging all of it. Anyway, you get the idea. Have a nice night, Internet.